Hola. Ja entrem a la recta final de la jornada. Jo faré la presentació dels dos ponents que m'acompanyen, el Bruno i el Mirko, en català. Després cediré la paraula primer al Mirko i després al Bruno. Vull dir que si algú necessita ho faran en anglès, òbviament. Si necessiteu ja tenim algun receptor fora que podeu agafar. Breument, la introducció que faré és, volia explicar-vos que, preparant el que seria la jornada, els continguts d'avui, sí, millor. I don't know if you want to use it. Yeah. You have yours? Yeah. Doncs llegint bastant i després també prenent alguna nota de tot el que s'ha parlat durant el dia d'avui, hi ha molts conceptes, termes que es van repetint. Llavors m'agradaria llegir-vos així superràpid algunes de les paraules, diguem-ne, que conformen l'univers transmèdia. Estem parlant de passió, d'emoció, de vincle, storytelling, una altra forma d'explicar històries, multiplataformes, volar, trans, cross, multisectorial, participació, sinergies, social media, col·laboració, diàleg, inèdit, marques, creativitat, societat líquida, consumidor, fan, entreteniment, second screen, ludificació, gamificació, Harlem Shake, oportunitats de negoci, experiències úniques. Podria estendre'm, però són com una mica el núvol d'atacs que podríem conformar amb tot el que s'ha parlat fins ara. A la primera taula, amb el Monte Carlo i la Mercedes, ens han fet una miqueta d'introducció, han explicat el concepte de transmèdia, han posat en relleu les possibles oportunitats que hi ha per tots els que esteu aquí, perquè no tots veniu del món audiovisual, veniu del món editorial, veniu de videojocs, però també gestió cultural, festivals, publicitat. A la segona taula hem presentat 3 casos per mi bastant importants i significatius i amb perfils molt diferents de què s'està fent en projectes transmèdia i ara estem aquí. Ara estem aquí amb la pregunta de jo tinc un projecte transmèdia, com el moc, o jo tinc ganes d'entrar en el món transmèdia, com puc aixecar un projecte transmèdia. Llavors per això hem convidat el Mirko, per una banda, el Mirko Lempert, el presento breument perquè ell us donarà més detalls de la seva evolució a nivell professional, però té un bagatge com a realitzador audiovisual, ara mateix està a la Universitat d'Art Dramàtic d'Estocolm i porta molt de temps fent recerca sobre fons de finançament, tot vinculat també amb el tema transmèdia. A partir d'aquí li hem demanat que faci una espècie de mapa, unes pinzellades, o sigui, tenim una hora, no arriba, vull dir que es tracta una miqueta així com de petits claims, unes pinzellades de com està l'univers a nivell de fons de finançament i Mirko, wherever you want, it's all for you. Thank you.
Okay, great. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us, Monte Carlo, Noise and Edgar. So it's great to be here. Actually, it's my first time in Barcelona, but just a very short trip, unfortunately. I have to speak in English. I hope you don't mind. And I try to introduce you to certain concepts of financing, certain institutions, funding bodies, which are out there. The problem is that as transmedia is quite complex to design, to build up, as we heard before, it's also very hard to finance, because if you go to a regular funding body, which is funding films, those people get very irritated if you have a gaming part attached to it. If you're going to a gaming fund, people get irritated if you have a classical, traditionally piece of film attached to it. Let me set the tone with a report which got published in 2010. It was actually financed by PricewaterhouseCoopers, of 2 guys, Winsek and Jin, the political economists of media. You can Google it, actually. There's a summary out in the net if you haven't already read it. It's 85 pages long and it's actually Creative Commons licensed. What they did, they analyzed revenue schemes, global revenue schemes for different media segments during the last 12 years. And as we can see, it's not incorporated. So if we're talking about books, then we're talking about print. E-books are not incorporated in this. But as you see, besides internet access, internet advertising, so video games going strong, still going strong, and in times of piracy, even a film with an 88% plus in revenues compared to 98 is quite profound. I just recall a number 2 weeks ago in Germany. For the first time, they actually pushed the 1 billion revenue button, and or came over this boundary, mostly affected by 3D movie ticket sales because they're a little bit more expensive than the regular ones. Although the art house audience is aging and we're losing actually audience there. So, but anyways, for the big actors on the market, it's going well. Yeah. And I'm coming back to video games, so please keep this in mind. So 264% plus. Okay, I start actually to introduce you just to some programs. The media program, I think almost everyone here in the room is familiar to it. I highlight in every, it's just a short introduction, and I highlight something what I think it's interesting, can be of interest to you. For media program funding between 2007 and 2013, which was the period, I guess, for the last culture budget, was not that you could apply with a multimedia project. The multimedia project has to be a complement to an existing work. So it is either documentary, animation, or a feature film up to 50 minutes, which is quite interesting to me. So, because that means that you design afterwards a multimedia strategy to something to extract something, but it's not in the preset. So in 2005, 2006, when they developed those kind of, funding schemes, it was not considered to be interesting at that moment in time, or probably there was not that money. So I think definitely, because now it's the new commission, or the commission for the new culture program 2014 to 2020 has to be ratified now. So I think there are probably some changes. So we might have a fund which is actually just meant for multimedia, but this is my speculation. So we will see what happens actually. Going to traditional funding bodies, we're going to Germany, which has, I expect the same like in Spain. We have regional film funds which we can apply to. And the strongest in Germany is not the Medium Board in Berlin, it's NRW, which is Cologne based, and they introduced 2 years ago a program for innovation, for digital innovation. Again, if we look closer on this fund, it's much more focused on pre-competitive means, on infrastructural incentives. So we want to create companies, startups, and so on, which are located, based in the region, which develop and then become competitors on the market. Yeah? But even though we can see that they have added a social and economic stimulus effects, so yeah, there's an idea about content, of course. The same with the DCF, which is the digital content funding in the southern part of Germany. It's a quite small region, but in proportion to the others, they are quite interesting. So if we're going later, and Bruno is talking about markets, so if you have a package and you go to a market, so and you want to meet a transmedia producer, so then probably you should ask for one which is located in one of those areas, southern Germany or in the western part of Germany. In Berlin, everyone is going to Berlin, so the competition in Berlin is extremely high, and I think they just have 50% of the budget than the NRW has, so there's quite a difference. Going to Sweden, where I come from, or I'm working, we have venture capital companies. This one, Almi Investment, which is actually funded to 50% by European Development Structure Fund, focus on new technology. So if you have an idea which can be content driven, but at the same time you develop technology, because technology has to adapt, or you start to create a platform which, for instance, Bambuser, I don't know, someone familiar with Bambuser, which is an online stream video platform, maybe some of you, they became quite popular 2 years ago in the Arab Spring because people could upload videos from the demonstrations and so on. And they provided a really easy interface to use. So Bambuser is partly financed through that investment. The same in Berlin, we have a bank which can become a partner. Of course, I'm not recommend you to go to a bank. I know how it is to be an artist and then go out and talk to people in suits, but I mean, sometimes there are some advantages to it, and then of course you have to check out all those kind of regulations and of course what kind of partnership you tend to go into, collaboration. Coming back to the public funding, Screen Australia, I saw that you translated now Gary Hayes' Transmèdia Bible. 2 weeks ago, Screen Australia, or the Minister of Culture in Australia, decided to raise the budget for video games or this interactive games fund around 200%, from 10 million Australian dollar to 30 million in the next 3 years. And what they do actually, they have a part. There are 5 sections in their funding scheme, which is the first one is game development, the second one is game production, the third one is focusing on multi-platform drama, and the fourth one documentary, and the fifth one is game enterprise. So actually they are a combination of all those I mentioned before, which is quite interesting. So as I said, it's quite new, so we hopefully will see that there's a kind of development within Europe as well, that we will see popping up more of those funds. And this, you can see this as a kind of, a relation to what we saw before with the video games industry and the rise of the player. National Film Board Canada is probably the most successful and most productive, if you want, so public funding institution. They're actually not giving grants, they're doing co-productions. So either they're gonna buy a concept of you, they become a national co-producer, provide you with facilities, expertise and so on, or a third one, you as a Spanish or Catalan producer or European producer, you have a Canadian co-producer, so then you can go into an international co-production with them. And they did some profound work over the last, just check them out, and they focused, they had a policy change a couple of years ago and said everything has to be 360, and they do a lot of innovation and a lot of innovative works in terms of distribution and production. So it's definitely something you have to look at. And it's great that we...
Mirko.
May just I add something about Canada, because it's very interesting. They force the producers to integrate an interactive part on any project of audiovisual production. So they really intend to make the producers make the move and make the change to a transmedia, cross-media project.
Thanks, Bruno. Yeah. Is Michael here somewhere? Or did you already leave? Michael? No? But he was partly funded by the ALMA project was partly funded by the Tribeca New Media Fund, which is quite nice. So we have this kind of reference here. Tribeca New Media Fund is the same with Sundance. A film festival becomes an institute, becomes then an institution which gives grants. The same in Tribeca now. Interesting here is that they have a special focus on non-fiction and social issues. And that's quite interesting. If we take a European approach, giving money, public spending money for culture products, which are actually focusing on regional structure and development and whatsoever, on being competitive. And here we have actually a private institution funded by the Ford Foundation giving money to social projects, makes me and my mind a little bit of strange. I mean, it's. I mean, the word is not just black and white, and it's not that easy to understand, but I mean, if you are a producer, you have really be clear, and when you're designing your strategy, making your packaging, and define your resources. But that's quite interesting. And Tribeca New Media Fund is, of course, if I have another thing, if I have the Tribeca New Media Fund, which has a high reputation within my packaging, it's easier for me to access other fund as a financial resources. You know, it's always what you have to keep in mind. And this one, for instance, everyone from everywhere can apply for this one. The last deadline was unfortunately now in the beginning of February, but maybe you, I mean, check them out, the regulations of them, and then maybe it's interesting for you. There's another interesting fund. It's a collaboration between the Bertha Foundation in Great Britain and the BritDoc Association, which actually helps documentary films to get a better outreach strategy. So you apply with your actually distribution strategy. The film is done, you apply with your distribution strategy to the fund, and you can get financial capital or whatever to actually do your distribution. So, which is quite nice, and it's soft money, it's soft money, so it means you don't have to pay them back. The only thing what they want you is that you have to put their logo whenever you have a kind of occasion or whatsoever. So that's quite nice, and especially for documentary filmmakers, I can see that there are new opportunities on the horizon which you actually can get access to. That's a really nice fund. And I think the next deadline is in the beginning of March. So if you have something and you really have 2 weeks now, you have 2 weeks to go. So try to come up with a good idea, and then maybe you apply to them. So, and it's open to everyone. Okay, that was my first part, financing through institutions, some examples, and then I thought, okay, second part is financing through people. And I mean, I don't have to tell you, I assume that everyone in this room knows what crowdfunding is, right? So I thought, okay, maybe, so if not, so maybe ask me, so then I give you a short summary, but otherwise, I thought, what did we learn from crowdfunding? Much more interesting further, as I go one step further. And for me personally, crowdfunding is about distribution, not financing. For the most projects, crowdfunding actually maybe accumulates 3 to 5% of the whole budget, but what it does at the same time, you attract backers, and those backers are kind of your I'm sorry for but kind of your army, which try to support you through the whole process, and through that they try to, or they will give you a certain outreach. So if you succeed within your campaign and your crowdfunding campaign, you might get, as we see here, and the second on the right side, when you're done with production, you have a critical mass which you actually can approach your product to. Not like before that's the pull and push and pull strategy. We pull audiences, and we do this very early on, and then we try to be transparent, try to involve them in co-creation, participatory culture, and so on. And when we're done, so then we actually we launch it, and then we have a critical mass, and then we will see if it's spread. So before it was much more that we pushed it, so we finance produced, and then we used every possible or potential distribution channel and all the money we had, and just spend money and try to get people get people's attention. The crowd replaces the commissioner as expert, especially if we're talking about public funding. As I said, for instance, I don't know, I mean, we take one short example. In Sweden, we had 3 years ago, a guy we have one person who decide on our national film board who gets funding for documentary or not. One person. So, and this guy got rejected, so he funded the film anyways, and now he's nominated for the best documentary at the Oscars this year. So that means, like, I mean, to defend the commissioner is that the commissioner can't oversee all I mean, the potentials of every project which comes in, and they have to read so much. For feature film, we have 2 people, at least 2. So, but they have to oversee everything, and then they have to make the decision, you know, and they take the basics, of course, the cast, the people behind the track record, the packaging, and so on. But I mean, if you have the crowd, and if we say the crowd is a community, you have a certain expertise within this community embedded. So if I approach a project, or, you know, I try to approach a certain community with a project, so I got a feedback. And with that feedback is probably it might have a higher value than the commissioner can give, and maybe an expertise. It's my opinion, yeah, and that follows actually in that footsteps. Ideas are not following deadlines, so you can put up your project whenever you want on a crowdfunding platform. You don't have necessarily to wait until, I don't know, May 15th, and then on May 14th we start doing our applications as we used to do it, waiting half a year and then doing it on the last night, and everyone gets crazy. So, but just to keep the deadline, and crowdfunding won't replace at May complete existing funding schemes. So I think it's quite, if we find a combination of the social aspects to it, the potential of crowdfunding, and established financial funding schemes, so we might have a strong package. Which brings me to the third part, which is hybrid. A hybrid model. We started this year, in the beginning of this year, in Stockholm with you can call it hybrid model. We have a crowdfunding platform called Crowdculture, and Crowdculture is actually matching the private interest, means you, with public funds. So it means we have a certain amount of money, public money, and there's no commissioner, there's no expert or a group of experts. The people decide by their voice what kind of project gets funded. I mean, it's your money, you're a taxpayer. So actually it's a very democratic approach. What we did then, or Crowdculture, they teamed up with a community called Filmbasen, which is financed by Stockholm County Council. It's much more as a greenhouse scheme for 18-year to 25-year-olds. So film, I mean, if I am passionate about film, I'm 18 years old, and then until I become maybe so eligible to finance a feature film or so, I have to do certain short films and I have to develop myself and so on. And we're talking about artistic vision, and so this is a step to do that. So they got funds, technical sponsorships, they got advising, also consultancy, and so on. They got facilities. So they said, okay, we want our community to get their films funded through Crowdculture. And they got money from our film region, from the regional film fund, which is film region Stockholm-Mälardalen, which you can see here. So we have the financing, we have the pedagogical, like Filmbasen and Stockholm County Council, and we have the technological party within this hybrid model. So, and by no surprise, but we were surprised by the feedback, so it was quite high. I think they, at least 6 or 7 or 8 short films get financed within the first, I think, 6 weeks or so, 4 or 6 weeks. So, I mean, the budgets are really on a very low level, but there are two projects from my school, so I think it's really it was worth it. So they will continue their relationship. The second one is a Dutch platform, which is probably the first platform ever focusing just on video games. It's Ambitious. Ambitious has a total different approach, but if you want, it's a hybrid model as well. What they actually do, they give you 2 chances as a backer or donator that you can donate through. You give your 10 euros because you want to see this video game realized, or you can become an investor. But you can't actually acquire rights. Your investment is limited to, like a gross dealer, so it's limited to a certain percentage of the revenues. So it's like in proportion to your investment, you will get something out of your revenues. It's like an external financier, but you can't become a co-producer. And the third one, ManyMade, is recently recently started crowdfunding platform from Copenhagen in Denmark. They have all the people working. They have an art background, but they teamed up with Filmkontakt Nord, which is actually if you want, so a promotion platform for Scandinavian or Nordic short and documentary movies. They are present on all the big festivals and they do a lot of stuff. So they made now a program called Call Free Projects. So they actually take free projects out of their lineup, and those free projects got into the scheme of ManyMade. So ManyMade will try to help them to set up a crowdfunding platform, and then they will hopefully succeed. And in the end, they're going back to Filmkontakt Nord and they got the promotion through this kind of public finance platform. So at the end, please let me kind of summarize what I think it's interesting when you start with your campaign, either it's traditional way or especially if it's multi-platform, is I would always develop a strategy which is community-based. That sounds kind of obvious, but I have to repeat myself, it's actually the key to success. So especially if you're going to start with a crowdfunding platform, because it has to be two ways, and the most people underestimate or misjudge actually the engagement you as creator have to do. So it's not just like put up your crowdfunding campaign. You have to have really engaged, and you have to follow up the questions you get over your protocol. It's amazing. That's a lot of work, and it's a lot of money as well. So that's what people not realize, that actually you have to invest in a crowdfunding campaign. But as I said before, if you succeed, the investment was very well chosen, and it was probably the best investment you could make to get your project from the ground. And at the same time, crowdfunding might be a good tool also to see if there comes feedback, and feedback is always good. And if you don't have to pay for it, even better. So people spending millions for market research, if people is giving you this for free, so it's amazing. Build alliances a little bit when Mercedes and Monte Carlo were in. Alliances are very important nowadays. So networks, you can just share stuff, share expertise, share resources, which will help you a lot. So it's definitely defined resources. Of course, I mentioned it before. Shared sense of ownership, quite interesting. I didn't mean by that you have to split your rights with your audience, but you have to give them a certain idea and feeling of co-creation, that you create something together, because your audience is not asking for any rights, but you want to be part of that, and that's quite profound. The last one, control over use, might come back to the habit thing we talked before, because what we found out now is that the era of collection or collecting things is over. People are not collecting, maybe there are some, but it's not that I'm collecting any DVDs anymore. For me, my power as a customer or consumer or user is that I can decide whenever, wherever, whatever I want to see. So that's the main shift in everything. It's the media consumption and behaviors of customers, and you have to design somehow your masterpiece and adapt to it. So that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mirko. Us vaig a presentar ara breument el Bruno mentre fa el canvi de presentació. El Bruno és CEO i fundador del MobileEvent. El MobileEvent és un festival de curtmetratges per telefonia mòbil, i després també està aquí convidat com a fundador també d'un dels festivals més importants a nivell de projectes Transmèdia, juntament amb el Power to the Pixel, és el Cross Video Days. Ara ens explicarà una miqueta què s'ha de fer, com hem de preparar-nos de cara a anar a un festival, a un mercat. Vull fer l'apunt que el Cross Video Days va començar com a festival el 2010, però crec que és l'any passat, que va esdevenir mercat també, i ara ens presentarà en primícia un nou format, que és el Cross Video Nights, i apuntarà una miqueta. A partir d'aquí, Bruno,
Muchas gracias. I'm sorry if I'm not speaking Catalan or English, but I will do my best with my, or Spanish, sorry, but I will do my best with my English. I don't speak that much too. Thanks very much, first of all, to be here. I'm, like Mirko, very, very proud and very happy to be talking in this audience and loving this city. So thank you to Neus and to La Generalitat for the invitation, and thanks for Monte Carlo Eva for their introduction to them. Very quickly, because the goal is to have a lot of exchange with the audience and new experience and maybe your question about it. So I'm going to talk about markets, and especially two major European markets, one that I organize and one that have been several times, because it's a very good one. So Power to the Pixel, to start with, it's a very big market based in London in October most of the time, and pretty much English-speaking oriented, but open to a lot of European projects. So they are a good place to meet people. They have 30 cross-media projects selected in the market, and they have a different price money. The biggest one is given by Arte, the French and German channel, about pixel pitch price. That is £6,000. So you will have all the information on Power to the Pixel website. So Cross Video Days, this is the event I've been created and organizing for now 3 years. We're preparing the 4th edition that will be happening in the month of June in Paris. And the idea for us was always to look for projects in different phases of development and trying to have a large view and understanding of the cross-media question and cross-media type of project. So just to give you an idea, last year we received 211 projects from 26 countries, and we selected 29 of them because the goal is to make business. So to have the opportunity to have meetings with a lot of potential co-producers, potential distributors, and potential funders. This is an idea of the project we had. We had only one Spanish last year, which was Crocodux. Maybe some of you know this project. It was very nice and very interesting project, but we have projects from different countries and different formats, like web documentaries, web fiction, web series, transmedia, ARG, so alternative reality game, and other kind. Just to be a place where people are understanding what the large creativity of interactive program are today. This is other countries and other kind of projects. You can still discover all of them with their presentation, and most of them have a short video presenting on the website. So invite you to have a look to it. You can also see their pitch in front of the audience, because each of them have the opportunity to make a pitch. And this is very important in the market, because most of the market have pitches, opportunities, and just think about that. As an author, as a producer, a pitch is very hard to do, and it's very needs to be prepared, but I have some elements about it after. This is the commissioners we had last year, so a lot of Frenchies, as you can imagine, but also other Europeans like BBC, ZDF, Arte, MTV. We are very proud because we had some big producers coming to look and to sniff a bit like what the new trends of the market are, like Fremantle, Banijay, or others of this kind. Be Active, that you surely know, this Portuguese, very creative and innovative production house. This year, as I told you, we launched yesterday the new call to project. So come with your project with a great pleasure till 11th of April. It's a free subscription, and we will study with a dedicated commission your projects to select, hopefully between 40 and 50 of them. We try to hire. And after, our job is to welcome you as much as we can, but especially to give you the opportunity to have good meetings with potential producers, distributors, or funders. To give you an idea, from the 2011 selection, we have 48% of the projects that have been produced. So it's pretty good. And from the last 6 months, in June, we have 17% of the projects that have been produced. So just to extend the view and to enlarge some other specialized markets, let's say, I just wanted to give you 2 examples, because most of the classical festivals that have a market, which could be in Annecy, the MIFA, maybe some of you knows about it. It's animation, one of the biggest animation festival. They develop a transmedia part, and this was just 2 examples that are very important in the market on documentaries that are Sunnyside of the Dock and Sheffield's Dock Fest. And they all of them have a new transmedia part. So when you want to promote, to look for funding, just think about general ones like Cross Video Days or Power to the Pixel, but also think on your activity and your business, how to be present and how to go in your own market. So just little advice. I try to think about it and be a bit transgressive and also humble. So take it as just little advice on my side as an organizer. When I see and I heard the feedback from the commissioners, what they are looking for and what they're expecting from producers, authors, and others. So the first one is, in every market, be ready with your own marketing tools for the commissioners. I think it's very important. Just they see a lot of people in 2 days or more days, so you have to print their mind with some elements. That could be a T-shirt, that could be a flyer, that could be a DVD, that could be a USB key, that could be something that they will keep in mind. Now that we all have a tablet, keep your tablet and have your video ready to show at any moment to them, because you have to print their mind. I think it's very important. Just think how much they will see in 2 days, how much they will see in their office, and make it possible they'll remember you after those few days of intensive meetings. So this one is pretty transgressive for authors, so I apologize for them, but it's more dedicated to producers. You will have different meetings with different kind of commissioner. They can be a big TV screen that are more dedicated to advertising point of view, or they could be very creative like Arte and looking for products like Alma that are absolutely amazing. So just think about adapting your presentation, adapting your speech to the people you will be talking to. I think that's very important. And I know that for author, it's pretty hard to think about that, but I think that's the job of the producer, to be able to adapt the way he presents the project in terms of what the channel, what the commissioner, what it will be looking for. Repeat your pitch as an actor. This is very important. You have a very short time. You have 5, 10, 15 minutes to pitch. So be ready like an actor. You, as an author, as a filmmaker, as a producer, you ask your filmmakers to be able to be very efficient. pitching is an entire job. So think about the way, repeat it, make it in front of an audience, have feedback, be very critical to your pitch, and think that the time is very short, so you have to entertain your audience. That's very important. So after, I would like to add little things. We talk about it with Mirko. Just add the little things of opportunities you have to keep in mind about funding your projects in very general way. The first one is about TV. They still are, from my point of view, the biggest funders. Because they have the most money, and also because they need to manage the digital revolution. They are pretty troubled today with the situation. I mean, the audience is doing something else, is multitasking, is looking for other experience, is no more an audience that is every Saturday night in front of a TV, or every night at 8 in front of the TV, which was very easy for selling advertising. So now they have to think differently, and they did not easily think differently because they are a very old way of mind. So they're looking, and you are here, and you will be able to help them to think a different way, to think, so they need you, definitely. Need you for talking about multitasking, how they have to manage it, how they have to handle it, how it could be helpful to bring people back to the TV, which is the main screen for them and the main business, how to involve the audience. This is very important. You as producer, as author of Transmèdia, you have an experience of interactive, of involving the audience in the experience of watching the programs, of living the programs. They don't really know about that, so you are very helpful for them too. The unlinear content is a very aggressive word for them, but it's very useful. You all know this large experience of video games now needs to be adapted to the TV. So how to think about that and how to build around that, and Transmèdia in a general word. So I think the idea is to take into account the expectation, and their expectations in terms of business or audience is to bring people in front of the TV on the same time. So how you can share the experience, how you can make it more interactive by living on a multi-screen tablets, mobile, web experience, and in the same time having a TV interesting and rich experience. You all, I imagine, have seen this image. You all have been touched by any screen by this amazing experience, amazing event that was only made by a brand. So it's pretty impressive the way we change. In the 69, I think, the first man walking on the moon was made by the state. The first guy jumping from the sky so far have been made by a drink. So it's a big change from the 40 or 50 years, and I think this is part of the change we're living. I mean, the brands. I heard that there was a question from an advertising company before. Brands are part of our life, and now it's our job as producers, authors, to understand how we can handle them, and we can answer to that questions. Brands becomes media, and they want to speak more. So how we can help them to speak, because they not natively know how to speak. They need you help to be able to speak in an interesting, entertaining, and useful way for them. Yeah. So sorry. The last part of funding, it's very important for me. I take just two little examples: the El País TV and New York Times video, and you can see that in every kind of traditional media like press, radio or any kind of other media online, video is absolutely useful for them. It's useful for two major reasons, because internet is definitely a video media, and video has a natural expression on internet, and on a very practical and materialistic way, advertising is much more expensive on video than on the classical banners. So the change is absolutely useful for them in terms of entertaining their audience, of attracting new audience, and of making money. So they're moving more or less quickly, but they're moving to the video. So now they're looking for, they don't exactly understand the business model, but they're looking for web documentaries, they're looking for web series, they're looking for things that they can be able to co-produce, to distribute, to maybe co-finance, and to give their audience. The good thing is today they have been able to create a very large audience on their website, which will be on mobile, tablets, or web, like El País and other media of that kind. They create a very large audience. So now how a video will be integrated inside, and how you as producer authors will be earning money and finding the good business model for co-producing and developing those projects. I think that's more or less the end. And just for fun, the fact that they all need you, because they all say that content is king. I hear that working in internet business from a long time, but they really need now, and I think the time is coming for us, for content producers, for authors to take the power and to try to make it happen. Thank you.
Moltes gràcies. Thank you very much. Bruno, Mirko, jo crec que no podem deixar passar l'oportunitat de fer-li alguna pregunta a aquests dos convidats que tenim de luxe, vull dir que per aquí hi ha companyes amb el micro, només cal que aixequeu la mà. Per aquí davant tenim una. Si us podeu presentar, si us plau, breument. Merci.
Hi, English, català, què? En què quedem?
Com vulguis.
Català, perquè hi ha més gent que ho entén. Em dic Irene, estic estudiant el postgrau de producció i gestió d'espectacles de la UB i volia fer una pregunta sobre possibilitats de funding per projectes teatrals o de dansa, per exemple, que siguin transmèdia. Si ho coneixeu.
Do you know what alternate reality games are? Staged stories within an existing world. So what you can actually live experience theater or whatsoever. So and there are a lot of those. The Truth About Marika, which was done by the Swedish television, which is somehow, matching in the Nordic countries. We have a huge tradition of live action role play. So it means people gather around a narrative, someone is writing or several people writing, and then people dressing like 16th or 15th century, they're building villages. They're building villages and then they're living for several weeks in those villages. So what they now do is they adapt this to actually TV format. So they did this in The Truth About Marika, then they did a huge, it's called, in London, what was it called? Conspiracy for Good, which was actually a huge live-action role play within the city center with a treasure hunt and everything, and it was a huge transmedia campaign, and it had different theater parts to it. I think that's kind of as a theater play for me, at least. But let me give you one example of what we're doing right now. So we try to figure out or design a framework within our school which we can then apply to our attached to our curriculum, It's much more that we use themes, and that I say, okay, theme is, for instance, children for the next on immigration for the next 2 or 3 years. So then our master classes come in and they building kind of a fundamental whatsoever with this, what you can do, they're building certain frames, and then every student which starts in theater, which starts in radio, which starts in television, they have to fulfill certain tasks under this umbrella. So that means that the theater play can become an animation, and animation can become a radio play. So what you do actually, you combine those different disciplines, because before they were so separated that there were no cross-disciplinary action or whatsoever. And now we try to figure out a model which allows us to actually come over these borders, this invisible borders. And then I think, but still, it's a lot about audience, it's a lot of behavior, but I can speak for Sweden, so theater companies are not very much into transmedia. So it's still, there are certain fundings, and they have a certain audience, and they go through that. So it's, but they might, some out there, I guess.
I will say that the transmedia could be necessary when the experience is not strong enough, or to enrich the experience. In the theater or dance, I don't see any reason to take out my mobile phone when I'm looking to a show, if the show is good. So I don't think it will be absolutely necessary. So this is a personal point of view, but I'm sure we will have some very exciting projects made with transmedia outside of the stage to make the project live on different screen or different experience.
There's one company from London which I think is quite interesting. It's called Punch Drunk. And they're not talking about being transmedia, but what they're doing actually, they're building immersive situations for audiences which are quite astonishing and mind-breaking, so or groundbreaking. And they might be, I mean, a classical example for those companies, and then you can build on and extend that on certain platforms or whatsoever. But I think they do everything right in terms of theater and what theater can do to break through the fourth wall. So it means that you as an audience become part of the story. Yeah.
Per aquí davant.
Yes, I have a question for Bruno. I'm a producer based here in Spain. So I would like to know, can you precise a little bit more for your market, cross-media days, cross-video days, sorry. So it is within the name already, it's based on videos, if I understand well. But can it also be, let's say, my question is it included in transmedia? Can it be, let's say, a documentary with a transmedia strategy around, with a game and something around? So it's not so strict, let's say, it's not so formatted in your festival. And then what is pitched, or what is the one-to-one meeting? Then it's quite, I would like to know if it's quite open in this sense.
The format are completely open. We try to look for innovative projects, innovative programs, innovative concepts. So we are completely open to web documentaries, to projects that have a multi-screen spirit. So absolutely open on that point. We decided to call it Cross Video Days because we think that the heart of it is of most of the transmedia project is the video, but not always the case. But that's our point of view on the projects we're looking for. But a book could be complementary to a series, to many other things. So after, when we have selected those 40 to 50 projects this year, we will organize, we'll present them to the commissioners. We will have, like BBC, TF1, Arte, and many others, and we'll ask them to choose who they will have meeting with. And we will push some projects we think that will be interesting. The goal is to have in the 2 days between around 20 to 30 meetings, personal meetings, individual meetings, face-to-face, one-to-one, with commissioners. So having the opportunity to present them with time dedicated to it, your project, with your business plan, with your Bible of idea, with your video and other things like that. So everything is organized to with little tables where you can have those talks. And 20 of them will also be pitching in front of the audience of the conference hall. Am I answering? Okay, thanks.
And sorry, Bruno, tell us a little bit more about Cross Video Nights.
So, thank you very much. This is something we'll love to develop in Barcelona. Maybe we will do soon. So this comes from the idea. I don't know if some of you heard about the Mobile Mondays. No. Okay. It was a kind of open meeting, a networking meeting every first Monday of the month. And was almost developed all over the world. Started in Scandinavian countries, I think, with Nokia. So the idea is very simple. Cross-media projects needs to have people working from different environment working together, which is not easy. It's even complex. So we have authors, we have geeks, we have technicians, we have web designer, we have game designer, and all those people have to work together. So first of all, it's not easy to meet each other, and they know each other. Everybody's working in his business, in his industry, and it's not easy to know what the other projects and to understand what the other needs. So the idea of Cross-Video Nights is having people from content and technologies meeting together through 3 little pitches, 10 minutes of sharing experience. We have a media, a content, and technology pitches, so 3 pitches. And after we have drinks, tapas here, some other things over there, and eating and sharing together. And the opportunity in Paris, we have made 5 or 6 of them, and we have around 180, 200 people coming at each one, and it makes opportunity to share and to develop projects together.
Thanks. Ok, anem fora de temps ja, vull dir que si voleu alguna pregunta més super breu, alguna mà per aquí em senyalen al fons, doncs endavant.
Bueno, és que en realitat eren 2 preguntes i tampoc sé si són molt breus. Però en fi.
2 molt breus, Uri.
Mira, la idea és que si em podien dir d'alguna manera l'ordre... Clar, els pressupostos mai són superextensos en les nostres indústries. Aleshores, quines són les aplicacions, i dic aplicacions a nivell de finestres, de models de negoci, des d'APs, videojocs o el que sigui, que són més rentables per fer primera, si hi ha un ordre on es pot que hi és algun tipus d'estudi. I la segona, també molt breu, és si normalment el model de negoci acostuma a ser tipus spin-off o com es fa això de caminar junts, quan parlava ara de caminar junts, quina relació hi ha entre les empreses, les companyies, els professionals, perquè entenc que s'associen, no sé com funciona això.
Okay, I give you an answer on the second one. I think in terms of collaboration, it's much more concerning sharing resources. So you can, if you have, I mean, you can't be an expert on every single segment or stage of your transmedia campaign, or I mean, whatsoever platform, media format you integrate within your story word or narrative or whatsoever. So if you have someone which is great in game designing or game development, and he's coming from, then it's a regular co-production in that case. So you're setting up co-productions. So, but I mean, they necessarily don't have to be so sophisticated. Then I mean, I don't know, international film co-productions are. But I mean, there's a level of trust, and if you know the people, and maybe you're sitting in the same building, but you see the potential on both sides and that you can create something together, so then it's about sharing resources, basically. So Otherwise, you have to buy their services. So, but if they see an outcome on their back end, so then maybe it might be of interest for them to join your project. Simple as that.
I'm not sure I understand exactly your question, because if there is such a solution for a business model, we will not be here all to discuss. So there's no one solution, and I have to look to your project and to understand. But clearly, I mean, the funding was presented very clearly by Mirko, and the opportunity are very diverse. We know that advertising is not making a lot of money today, like on YouTube or Dailymotion or the platforms, but it's part of it, crowdfunding, and it's a complementary of different funding. I think that definitely it is the responsibility of the state authority to be investing in this new production. I know pretty well France, and they're doing a good job, the CNC. But they have to be pushing. Media program is doing pretty well too. So after you have to find the good balance of complementary to build up your project.
Molt bé, moltes gràcies. Bueno, em sembla que ja donarem per tancada la sessió, la jornada. Volia agrair de nou al Bruno i al Mirko a l'haver-nos acompanyat. Moltes gràcies. Thank you very much. I, òbviament, a tota la resta de ponents que ens heu acompanyat, Monte Carlo, que tinc aquí davant, tot l'equip que ha fet possible que surti endavant aquesta jornada, primer de tot el nostre partner, que no ha pogut estar aquí amb nosaltres, la representant, la directora de l'oficina Mídia Antena Catalunya, l'Helena Moreno. També volia citar el Sergi, la Lala, la Eva, l'Edgar Garcia, òbviament. Tots vosaltres, moltíssimes gràcies. És la primera jornada que fem específicament de Transmèdia, però crec que per tot el que hem parlat i dubtes i ganes no serà l'última. Moltes gràcies. A dir-vos simplement que editarem els vídeos de la jornada, tots els vídeos que hem estat enregistrant de les diferents taules, els editarem i us enviarem quan estiguin llestos, i tots els PowerPoints, els ponents, també els tindrem disponibles. Moltes gràcies.